following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our Hallmark favourite actors and directors would rather forget they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, the man who has the Guinness World Record for most sharks pushed into a fish tank at one shark, it's James.
I don't like that pump insinuation. Pump.
Have you seen the McDonald's adverts where they're all going pump, pump?
Yes.
And with him, the inventor of the variable strength laser shooter and the machine that goes beep a lot for no real reason, it's Mark.
Stick your hands in my gills.
Oh, don't. If you want to keep up to date with upcoming film choices and that, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you want to make a softcore porno with the occasional sword fight in it and want to recommend a film to us, you can email us hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com.
Don't knock it. We've actually got a film. It is semi-pornographic, but it's
semi. It's pornographic. It's semi-film.
It's as much a film as, what was it, Dinosaur Island was? Or
I don't know. I felt that had a plot.
I feel like, because Mark recommended this one to us, I feel like he didn't see Swords and Sorcery with us, and he's taking his revenge now.
Again, even Swords and Sorcery had a plot and a better sword.
Though.
Yeah, it was.
I think for me, the thing is, I went based on just the poster, which, as always, I should have known. It's an 80s sword and sorcery sandals carry on.
Yes.
The poster isn't a thing.
It's like a copy of Heavy Metal. Yeah,
yeah. And I was taken in. I was also pretty into the fact it was only an hour and 19 minutes long.
Yeah, I thought...
Well, that was a big draw. That's a big plus in its column.
I was thinking, like, maybe it's a short version or something that we've
Yes.
had. Nope. Is it? Is there an extended
No, I thought the
director's
same
cut?
thing, so I went looking for different versions, but no.
No.
80 minutes or so.
We are, of course, talking about... 1983's Deathstalker. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great. But oh boy, would you be wrong. James, let us fire up the machine.
Vision's gone green after that. That is the sound of the techno drama Drone of Dread, which is alliterative today.
Sounds like where Krang lived in the Turtles.
More on that later.
Christ.
Sandra Death, a rogue archaeologist, and Greg Stalker, a resourceful survivalist, find themselves trapped in an isolated research station in Antarctica. When they discover evidence suggesting the ice pick used on Trotsky might be hidden there, they must navigate treacherous conditions and uncover long-buried secrets while facing a deadly adversary, determined to prevent them from exposing the truth.
Okay. Do ice picks grow infants wild?
I was gonna say, whatever happened to Mr. Trotsky?
You think he was strangled?
Yeah, the stranglers know what happened. Yeah. The actual synopsis for Deathstalker: a lone warrior named Deathstalker is sent by a witch on a quest to find a sword, a chalice, and an amulet, a bit like Nightmare. Two of which are held by the wicked king and sorcerer Munkar. That's it. And to be honest, does that happen? I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
That happens, but then what happens after that? Not entirely clear.
No. I'd just like to point out as well, this is episode 134.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know. I haven't got the button set up. I can't find the air horn noise. It's just, I thought, how many of these have we done? 134 of these fucking things. Let's get fully into the world of Mr. Deathstalker. Mr. Derek Stalker.
I was watching this. I don't know about anybody else, but I had to watch this on the website that sells bums.
Yeah, I had to watch it on there because the YouTube one's in German, but it did take me 5 minutes to realise that.
Yeah, I did that as well.
Because I thought it could be Elvish or something.
Oh, very, very much.
Single Asian women were looking for older men in my area. I was like, how dare you?
There's no Asian women at all in your area. I've been to where you live. It's just old people.
Oh, yeah, it is. Old people and sheep. And
Giant
also,
palmos.
Sexy Melissa from Knaresborough sent you pictures. And it's clearly that she's brought the wrong size top again. But that made that extra uncomfortable watching for me.
On the train.
Thing is, I tend to watch these at work the second time, so I have to expand the screen, so it covers up all the adverts very quickly. It's yeah.
I wonder where you were going with expand then.
No, not Sexy Melissa's ironing. It literally, the thing I was watching starts at the start of the film. There was made by
credits.
No, well, there was
it cuts off New World Cinemas. So I thought, this is going to be good then. And then it said Richard Hell. Actually, no, it's not. But yeah, there's credits to people leaping out of a hole, and I thought, well, this has got something going for it at least.
There's a lot of people running around doing like low maintenance parcour.
Yes, probably saying parkour.
But this was all before parkour was invented.
What did they call it then?
Just jumping about.
Being a dafty.
There's savages or mutants or something sneaking up on a man who's bound a woman, which is a common theme throughout this film.
Yeah, a lot of binding of women.
Not as much as Lady Circus, but it's a close second.
I did get Lady Circus vibes at a couple of points here.
Yes.
He offers them coin and then he just bolts and they chase after him through like the ruin of an abbey, I want to say.
Yeah. They kill him because monsters may be monster, but not monstrous.
No, they don't kill him at all. No, he runs away and then one of them
of course, yes.
like sort of starts molesting this lass. And she's like, oh. And then we are like, the thing is, it's all kind of confusing because it isn't really great transfer quality. So
yeah, that's true.
It's kind of hard to see what's going on.
And all the lads look the same.
And all the lads are in like grey potato sacks with a load of Cocoa Pops stuck to their face. It's like this film. If this film has a budget, James, I'll be impressed. And we're introduced to the hero of the film, Mr. Derek Stalker, as we've. Because this is when I was watching it, and he said something, and I was like, oh, maybe he's speaking in like a made-up language because it's supposed to be. No, it was in German. But I believe he says, that horse is mine.
Yeah.
And I thought...
How does that sound in German, then?
I don't know.
That's mine and horse.
Nine a booby. Yeah, and I thought, has he got a horse nearby, or is he referring to the woman?
No, he does have a horse nearby.
Right, okay, because that's less bad then.
I think this guy has nicked his horse, which is why he's come after him. And he's also taken this valley girl, is how he refers to her.
Not that kind of valley girl, of course. Not the Frank Zappa style.
No, I was going to say.
Deathstalker, Mr. Deathstalker.
Hang on, Deathstalker? I've been calling him Geoff Stalker the whole time. Jesus.
Why did nobody tell me?
Big Zoolander vibes from him.
Yes.
Everyone sort of goes, oh, let's get Deathstalker instead then. Let's knock his wig off. And so they all attack him, and like he whips out this blade. There's, I would say, a pretty good sword fight for 1983. Before we got fight choreography and stuff. It's just a load of guys flailing around like a battle reenactment sort of thing. There's some good killings. Kills one guy who's entirely full of the red sauce you get out of ice cream trucks.
I would say it's sort of like melted ice lolly or something. It's very sort of like liquid, isn't it?
He stabs him and it goes up the blade. Like clearly they're spraying it out of a washing up liquid bottle.
Mum, can we have Elden Ring? We've got Elden Ring at home. The Elden Ring at home is this.
I need the washing up liquid for my film, Mum. It's like the fairy advert, isn't it? Except it's a moon rocket.
That rocket was shit as well in the end.
It was daft, didn't it?
What a bad job that was of that child.
And he kills them all. Some of them run off, I think. And then I think one of them's holding the woman. And then he pulls out a bow and shoots in the neck. And then the bow disappears in the next shot.
Oh, right.
It's his inventory, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking. He's going through his pockets.
Next to like 96 apples or whatever.
There was some brilliant spaghetti western music in this scene as well.
Right. This is the weird thing about this film, is that it has quite good sort of sword and sorcery music.
Yeah.
And then during the fight scenes, it goes full Morricone at times.
Absolutely. And Rachel turned to me and she went, this is awful, but the music is brilliant. And I was like, I think it might be, yeah.
I think the bit later when they're riding into like the wizard, the Forest King's camp, I got big day-to-day vibes because it just kept keying up and it never stopped. And I was like, it must come to a finish. Nope, it just kept going till they ran out of keys on the keyboard.
Do you think they took Morricone out one night and got him absolutely hammered on grappa, and he ended up just knocking up a couple of tunes for him?
Enrico, look who's here. It's Barbie Benton. And she's like, hello. And he was like, I'll do whatever you want. Yeah.
He's like, Mamma Mia, or something.
I should point out at this point that it feels like Italy, but it's actually Argentina.
Oh, right. Wow.
This is 1983 Argentina after they'd finished murdering leftists
Ooh.
and started liberalising for a change. Yeah, like it is like 1983 and this film gets made. I don't want to draw any conclusions, politically from this film and its consequences, but...
There was no women murdered that looked like Margaret Thatcher, though, sadly.
It wouldn't have really fitted in with the... Oh, no, there was that one that blows the flamethrower in a bit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, the guy who stole the woman and the horse is like, oh, look, like, we can share her or something. And I was like, bit weird. And instead of that, Deathstalker just stabs him straight out the gate.
R.I.P. non-union Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell what anyone looked like in it. I have all only names I know are Deathstalker and what's he called, Munkar the Mercy Boy. Yeah, who is from the Bronx as well. I got all the chalices.
He advances on the girl with the knife, the bloody knife, and it looks like he's going to murder her, but actually cut her bonds. But he doesn't do either of those things. He instead cuts her clothing off and performs brief sex on her.
His delivery, Mr. Stalker, is like Nigel Tufnell, isn't it? This just isn't your day, is it? It's terrible.
I think he stabbed the knife into where her bonds are and then pulls her arms over the knife. And I thought, that's quite a sexy move, right? But then she's not into it and he's just basically molested her.
Yeah. Yep. She's also got tan lines that don't match the loincloth she's wearing. Like she had bikini tan line.
Well spotted there.
I looked very closely.
Yeah, he sort of feels her up and then a random man appears and goes, Derek Stalker, and he goes, that's me.
It is random as well. I've put down that he was just a dementia patient because we never see him again.
No, he's just some old man. And he goes, yeah, I'll be a minute. And he goes, no, now. The lass runs off. And then he's like, I'm going to have a wank now. It's just, and I don't know what this is. He literally goes, it's not my day either. Wah, wah, winks at the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, well done, old man. You've stopped a rape. The first of many you could have stopped, but didn't.
I think he might die at the end of this.
We never see him again, so we don't know.
So off he goes to the court of, and I didn't get the name of the king here, but I've called him Al Fresco, the outdoorsy king.
That's Al Fresco the Third to you.
He has a crown of leaves. I think it's leaves anyway. He's got a dog and some tasty, tasty jerky.
Made of dog.
Yeah.
He says,
I'll eat your dog.
He said, oh, if you're hungry, that dog looks tasty, you probably end up eating it. And he goes, well, you're eating dog now. And Deathstalker goes, sweet. He has nothing. There's no sort of wit or anything behind him. He's just throb man meat, isn't he? It's
this. We learned that this guy's been this guy's been kicked out of his court, and I've just written Monkar kick me out the shit because I couldn't pick out what he was saying, but it was something along those lines.
Yeah. King Munkar's got a proper castle with central heating in one of them kitchen islands, and the outdoorsy king says that used to be his castle until he was usurped by Munkar, who was his court magician, and he's got the ability to turn a whole army into sheep. If only one person could get inside that castle. And Deathstalker says, a fool. And the king says, no, a hero.
We get this fanfare.
And then we get Deathstalker's great line of this as well. What's one of my favorites? Heroes and fools are the same thing. And then he high fives himself.
The king says that he'll give him anything he wants, anything that he's got outside. Got nothing. There's beef jerky, dog jerky. Position at court or his own daughter, but he's not interested.
But his daughter has been nicked, I believe, hasn't she?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's there.
So basically,
he nicked her when you had your guard down.
Yeah, and he's like, fucking hell. No.
Speaking of which,
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna go off and do some more death stalking. I'm gonna stalk some more death.
Meanwhile, at the Castle Anthrax,
It does look like. I mean, I looked at
only
this
a
castle.
model.
I was like,
Yeah.
I really wouldn't have bothered trying to take it back. I'd have just stopped in the forest with Faye.
we see daughter, so the Princess Cadil, I think her name's pronounced.
First name Croco.
Carried into a soapy harem by castle goons.
So many goons, so much hareming in this
Yeah,
film.
this female water fountain was a bit shit, wasn't it? What's going on? It was like that video you shared the other day, Joe, of the dog in the fountain.
Oh yeah, but that's fun. This is just creepy and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just two Argentinian lasses rolling around in a pond, and you're like, under normal circumstances, this would be great.
There's lots of men in leather. There's some women in cages, and then there's just some others in towels. Cadil's getting carried about and slapped about a bit. It's not nice.
No, again, there's a lot of really uncomfortable stuff here, and that's not just us being Bernard Wright-ons. It's just like not comfortable to watch.
That's the thing. All the bits of this are really off, aren't they? Like the hero should be cynical, but he should at least do the right thing because he's a decent guy. None of that.
No, he's just. I don't know why he only goes to the castle because the lady that runs the face painting stall tells him to. It's bizarre. No one in this is good. But yeah, she's like, oh, I guess I live here now with all these other women who are in like Munkar's harem. They're like Jefferson Starship, then Jefferson Airplane. It's like Procol harem, Munkar's harem.
Riders at this point take a bound man through the forest.
Right.
Okay, go on, because this was something else.
They're riding full gallop, and this guy's keeping pace with them. And I'm like, bollocks, first of all. Right?
He falls over.
Eventually he falls over, but he's Linford Christian along behind him for a good long while.
I like the fact that after a little while of seeing the man being dragged around, the director went, let's check that replay out on Dragged by a Horse Cam, and then we get it from his point of view.
Yeah, it's good.
Looks awful.
There's a lot of the sort of Evil Dead camera on a plank stuff in this, which is fine, rubbish. But it needs to be done better. Yeah, I did enjoy point of view cam sort of thing. This guy getting dragged, they swerve around one tree, and he's like, phew, and then bonk straight into a tree head first.
Yeah. Oh,
and then they just
tree.
Well, yeah, it's not a real tree.
Must have hit it like 50 or something. Yeah.
And then they just leave him. Like, not explained why that was happening or anything. Just another day of dragging Gentiles through the woods. I don't know why the Gentiles. I don't know why. I didn't mean I meant peasants. Yeah, sorry.
We'll just stick with that biblical theme. It's General Kang and his goons. So General Kang, who's Munkar's his right hand man, but I feel like you see him later.
Do we?
I can't be sure. I don't know because it's very, very dark.
Because I'm fairly sure the old lady that comes out says, because Kang says, give us the sword, old lady.
Give us your fucking money. Yeah.
Or we'll do for you. And she's like, Kang, is it? Or is it Munkar in disguise? And then she goes, snake stick! And this is genuinely pretty good, like, because she throws a stick at him, and then the camera cuts, and he's got a snake wrapped around him. I'm like, that's pretty good. It's not great, but at least it's something.
Kang should never have left the Technodrome.
That's it, you see. He should have been in that big yellow dude with the red pants.
Yeah, it should. Yeah. This witch's house, by the way, looks like Michael Fabricant's hair.
Yeah, it's just I don't think they even built a house for this. I think they just went, you live under that tree stump, love, right?
Is it the dog mobile, the dog grooming mobile out of Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and Dumber.
Kind of look like it.
She does her one trick, snake stick. Deathstalker appears and like kills the other two guys, and then he goes over.
And Kang has turned himself into a bird. He's
into
turned
a
himself
bird
into a bird because he's got a magical amulet. And
old lady goes, get the amulet. And Deathstalker goes, what? And then the bird just flies off with the amulet.
It's got a little amulet on.
Yeah,
I liked that.
He flies up into the air, and then we see this bird give a cheeky little wink.
I like you, General Kang, you cheeky man.
There's a lot of there's a heck of a lot of people being butterfingers in this, isn't there?
Yeah,
missing something by moments or inches. It's just, oh god.
We do another
I think it was all filmed in one go. So if they did catch, it was like filmed live. So if they had got the amulet, they would have to change the story as it went. Just be like, just get the chalice now, then, innit? And he'd be like, sweet. Possibly. I don't know.
The witch explains that the amulet, the sword, and the chalice are the three objects of creation. Munkar obviously has two of them. She's got the sword with her. And Deathstalker at this point picks up the snake, and then there's a very clunky cut, and then it is a stick again.
That's brilliant. The amulet is magic, power of magic. The chalice is
to get
Science.
used. Yeah.
and the sword is stabbing.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Like,
Imbued with stab.
And she's like, away and get these 3 talismans or something. And then I've written, oh, hang on, 4?
no, I don't remember there being a fourth one.
Or is he
She
the
hasn't
fourth
got
one?
the sword. Another man in a cave has the sword.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
when we get to the man in the cave. But I looked at this, I was like, right, so we're going to get talismans from different places. Is this series 4 of the Dragon's Dream of Scorched Sheep or what?
It's
Oh,
called
no.
a padding series. Yeah. And she literally goes, go and do it. And he goes, no. Like, he just doesn't.
He's like, stop talking in riddles. It's like, I just told you to go out and find 3
He
objects.
says it twice. He's just confused by sentences.
I love how he's walking and kind of talking to himself or talking to his horse. And he's like, a lake, I'll have a drink. And he bends over to get a drink. And as he goes to get the drink, there's the reflection of the woman behind him. She's like, oi, Geoff Stalker, your thirst should only be for the first talisman. He's
And
like,
he's
I'm
like-
just trying some fucking water, mate.
He literally goes, leave me alone. God, trying to have a dump. Can't even have a shit in peace in this film. So yeah, and he looks down again and she's gone. And it was like, wow, that was crap.
Turns out it's in a nearby. It's not even a cave. It's like a hollow that a tree's left.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's just where the old lady lives without all like the 3 bits of props they had in there. They just redressed the
Yeah.
set.
He has to crawl inside, and inside he meets a sassy mutant. Anyone want to take us through this?
What the fuck is this cave puppet?
Right.
Uh,
They had a puppet and they were like, we're having this in the film. And he says basically, the sword is creation or something. But look out, a big man is going to attack
oh, look
you
out.
now.
There's a giant who is just marginally taller than Geoff. Like maybe about 5 inches.
He gets the sword, and to be fair, like it goes there's a blue flash on it, which looked all
Mr.
right.
Film worthy, yeah.
Yeah. But when you see the reaction shot of the mutant puppet, the light's red that's flashing.
Yes.
Yeah, which was strange, but whatever.
Yeah.
And he
It could do different colours. Why not?
it's like one of those pens, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
4
yeah.
colours on
Yeah.
it. You could
Don't try and push the sword down all at once.
all them torches you end up buying from Disney on Ice that invariably break straight away.
Yeah.
I like the way you make that sound as though that's happened to you
We've all
time
done
after
it.
time.
Constant. I always
Not
fall for
again.
it. And he
yeah.
has like a weird fight with this guy. He cuts
Stalactite heavy fight, yeah.
bits of his
Oh.
clothing off.
These stalactites, some of them were swaying in the wind as well as he walked in, like rubbery stalactites.
Yes, rubbery stalactites. He was a member of Munkar's harem. Played the theremin.
Oh, there is a theremin later on, isn't there?
Probably.
Yeah.
By the way, this mutant, whatever, looked like a Gamorrean guard had been left out in the sun, didn't it? The state of it, and it kept doing all these kind of like gurning comedy moves, like Gordon the Gopher.
I'm just thinking. Do you know, like with like the Michael Myers mask, it's just a William Shatner one melted a bit and painted white.
Yeah.
It probably is a Gamorrean guard mask. Just
Probably.
you just put in the garden shed for a month and like well, that'll do. Yeah, put it near an open window in the sunshine. He cuts bits of its clothing off. I think he cuts something off it. 2 bits fall off, and then it just runs off.
I wonder if it was like a knob gag or something. Was it supposed to be like testicles or something? Because it's like the
Could
balls
be.
that fall to the floor. I don't know. It's very, very dark.
It's really badly lit.
He
But-
says he's been in there for 30 years or something,
Eating
subsisting on
mice,
mice and
spiders, moss, Kate Moss, Moss from the IT crowd.
Mothra.
Yeah, and
But
he's
then
like,
something really
this
weird
is the
happens.
fucking bit. I was like, what has happened here?
Yeah.
He says, only a man who is a child can wield the sword. And he goes, and I'm coming with you because I need to get out of this cave. And then it cuts to Mr. Deathstalker. And he's a boy. He's a little lad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I thought I'd imagined that because it's just a quick kind of shot.
I'd forgotten about that until now.
I thought
And
I'd
I'm
imagined
like,
it.
what
They
the
come
fuck
out
is
of the
that?
cage.
Yeah.
Out of
Yeah.
the cave. And the puppet's like, I haven't been out in sunlight for so long. There's no reason. He's not like
Cover my
trapped
face
in-
up, and he covers his
trapped
face
in
up,
the
burning
cage, in the cave or anything.
Yeah.
But as they come out of the cave, he is still a little boy.
Yeah,
And then the man falls into a lake.
yeah. And he
For
comes out,
reasons.
and it's Richie Cunningham's dad.
He's
Tom
a regular
Bosley.
man.
Yeah,
with,
Tom Bosley.
with
But then Mr.
responsibilities.
Deathstalker is back to normal Deathstalker
Yeah.
size.
No,
Why?
could not tell you.
Did
Could
that
not
kid,
tell
is that
you.
his Make-A-Wish? Was it? Because I have no idea what that was about. It's never referenced again. He doesn't shrink to boy size to get into like a
No,
secret
but you do
alleyway
get-
or anything.
You do get a man transforming into a woman later on, so I don't know if they were trying to set that up as a concept.
No.
Oh, that's a thing. Well, when we get to that,
I think we're looking
Jesus.
at this way too much because
Yeah.
they clearly didn't.
Anyway, another day, another woman getting assaulted.
So
in the
he's got
woods.
his first thing
Yes.
of the fellowship
Point out
of
is-
the
did it-
stalker.
His name
Oh,
was Salmaron.
Oh, Salmon, very good. The and at some point he'd said, "I was young and virile and handsome" or something, and then when he obviously he's an old man, he gets up and he's like, "Young and virile and handsome." That was a long time ago. Oh no, it's in the eye of the beholder. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
Yeah.
or something like.
And then he's like, I have to go and get my son's money back off some card sharks now. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh,
Someday.
Sal. Sal did his best to bring some gravitas to this, and it
Yeah.
It doesn't really do
No,
anything,
it's-
though.
He spends a lot of time kind of giving it like, oh,
He has a
sexy
minor-
eyes at the ladies, doesn't
he
he?
has a minor plot point later on, but that's about it. Anyway, back to this fight in the woods. There's a randomer whose name is Ogress. He's fighting Munkar's men. Meanwhile, at some other part of the forest, and as they're fighting, another one tries to carry on the attack with a woman. That happens a lot. Like,
Cracking
people just giving up on the fight just to have another grope, sort of thing.
Yeah, because like there's like 3 of them just watching it, and he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And, it's being a woman in the Deathstalker world is worse than being a woman in the
Horrendous.
real world.
It's slightly worse. Yeah.
Just slightly, well, no, because literally all of the women, apart from
Yeah.
who we get to in a minute,
Mhm.
all of them are just constantly being chased around, molested, like Benny Hill.
Well, they are all fit.
But that's
I
not
mean,
the
I'm
point,
not
Mark.
making an excuse. I'm not making an excuse. They could run away.
They are running away.
Oh, right, okay, that's the film. Got you.
It's round and round and round that mud pit later on. It's
Little ball. Sal gets a tap on the head.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ogress is a regular crop top wearing man.
To
be honest-
top armor.
To be honest, I thought he was. He says that he's off to this tournament. I thought he was off to a Red Hot Chili's gig.
He
So he looks like that
one of
man
the
from
dancers
Universally
from-
Speed.
He looks like one of those robot dancers from the Billy Joel Uptown Girl video.
He looks like he's the landlord in The Big Lebowski, doesn't he? That's it. Except he's got a Kevin Sorbo haircut.
But right, again, this is the thing with fantasy films and armor, right? I get it, whatever. But why would you have your stomach, your tummy exposed? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's just one of the
just
many,
likes it.
many problems with this film. All the soldiers have got armor on, but all the warriors walking around just covered in like crisp and dry. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
bewildering.
guess the soldiers have got a better union than the warriors. That's all I can assume.
No, not after. It's not Pinochet in Argentina, is it? But
Oh, jeez.
not
Stop
after.
going
what,
on
10
about
years of
someone's
that.
politics you really want you to know about. But Ogre says, yeah, he's on his way to Munkar's castle.
Yeah.
To compete in a tournament, and whoever wins the tournament will be Munkar's heir when he dies. And to be fair, I think Mr. Stalker says Munkar's never going to die because he's an evil wizard. And Ogress goes, I'm going anyway. There's a lot of whatever in this film. There's a lot of just
They rescue this woman. We haven't talked about the fight because it's proper dull. But the woman who was being raped, her kid is right nearby, and they get reunited in the background. And I'm like,
dark.
that's fucking dark.
Yep.
Anyway,
Ogress
she's the
does
only
do
woman
a
to
cool
be
thing where he
saved in
wipes
this,
the
I
blade
think.
off his sword with the back of his leg, which I thought was
No,
quite cool.
I quite like that. Yeah, I was into that.
That's about the coolest thing that happens in this film.
I think this might be the first use of, the second use of a waxwork head that keeps getting belted around the place. That same waxwork head features about 4 or 5 times. It's brilliant.
Further throughout the film, the more bashed up it becomes.
Yeah, they've really got the money's worth.
I think in Deathstalker 4, I think they reuse a lot of cuts of this because Richard Hell is in it again. So they reuse the scenes from this rather than the other 2 that he's not in. So it's probably that head again and again and again throughout time. Nighttime camp now. Something spooks them. It's a hooded figure.
It's a spirit. Deathstalker's response: spirits don't make noises.
Yes.
ghosts don't go woo in this world. They just shuffle about, being an inconvenience. And we're introduced to Booby Tracy, as I've called her.
I've written Lady Swordsman.
Oh, okay.
Kyra is her name. It's only Lana Clarkson, everyone.
Is it?
Kelly Clarkson's mum.
Jeremy Clarkson's mum.
Citation needed. She fights. She's a good sword fighter because her and Ogris have a fight, but for some reason, again, following the barbarian code, she's got no top on, just a cloak.
Yeah, so he cuts the cloak and she's nude underneath, and she doesn't wrap the cloak around her because it's night time as well. It's going to be cold. Nope. Let it all hang out. And Salmaron says that he had a dream that they'd meet a man on the road, and then it's revealed that she's a woman, and he goes, "Dreams aren't what they used to be."
That's not even a phrase.
No, it doesn't really make sense. She says that she's a sword fighter who's cut down better men, and Ogris says, "I've dealt with better women with a different sword." I'm like, I don't like.
And then Michael appears. He means his cock. I think Salmaron's in a different film.
I
think they just cut him in.
Kyra's on her way to the tournament as well. They go back to the campfire for a bit, and she keeps her cloak open, so to speak.
Yep, just letting it flap about.
We get a quick cutscene to the Castle Anthrax again. Ladies are just lying around. There's a food delivery of lots of legs of lamb.
And there's a couple of apples in there, some fruit in there, and a bit of bread. And a lot of haunches of meat.
It's like a Too Good To Go collection, isn't it?
From the local abattoir.
Munkara says he has a snappy little dragon thing in a box. What happened to that?
This little mutant hand puppet.
Yeah, it's like a little mutant thing.
I'm looking it from the alternate timeline.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to that snatch of
somebody's
finger.
He
eats
an
eye
with no eyes there, and he's like, and then he feeds it eyes.
Feeds it a finger a little bit later on as well. Yeah,
so it's not just the eyes.
That's also what you get from Morrison's. You go to Too Good To Go. So Munkar is also there. He's got real Starburns thing going on the side of his head.
Yeah.
Wow. He looks like John Travolta in every film he's in post 2015.
Yeah.
And he doesn't lay out what his plan is. He's just like we're going to have a tournament.
At this point, no.
Is it not
an
here?
Update on Deathstalker camping outside the city, and he's like, "Oh, keep me informed." Deathstalker's just fucking Kyra in front of a bunch of men,
straight out the gate. Him and Ogris and Samaron just watching, and making eye contact with each other, going, "This is awkward." And this goes on way too long. There's booby sucking.
Sorry to the people on the Northern Trade Service to Leeds. While I was watching this.
Yeah, it's long and protracted and unnecessary. But
she didn't need to tell him that. Anyway, Munkar City, the morning. I don't think we ever get told what this city's called or why people live there. It's a thriving medieval town where preparations for the tournament are happening. There's a big wall of spikes, there's a big bowl of lemons, and there's trafficking of women again.
There is, and I was absolutely amazed because it's been years since I've been to Camelot theme park, and I was glad to see it's still open.
I'm surprised that big wall of spikes didn't amount to much in the end.
Nope, I thought someone was going to get pushed onto
Someone was going to get spiked to that, but they didn't have the special effects budget for it.
We've got one wax head and we can't throw it onto the spikes, Richard. Please.
The traffic women get taken to the Great Hall for that time-honoured sport of mud wrestling. That goes on for about 3-4 minutes.
I think before this, a lady is chased around by some guards.
Yes.
And then they go, she will do for Munkar. And then, they tie her up, and then he just lifts her skirt up and looks at her ass. And I was like,
yeah.
Munkar's going to be furious. Yeah. For your ass only. Then they just lead her off. And then this, of all the bits in this film, this was the bit I hated the most.
The Hall of Carousing.
It's not really carousing, though, because the Hall of Carousing would have, doodly-doo-doo-doo flute music.
There was that, though. There was a man doing flips in the background and everything.
There was music. There was this guy who looked like Abu Al-Hamza with the
There's a reference, kids.
Yeah. And I watching this, I thought to myself, 1983, so we've got another year before we get to to Jabba's palace. Hang on a second. Did Lucas rip this off?
No.
Because if so, the Deathstalker people have got a claim, I think.
Don't
Jabba's-
tell them that.
Jabba's palace, while being seedy, isn't debauched. Like, this is gross.
Oh, I don't know. They're all lying on top of one another when they wake up.
That's just for heat.
It is in the desert, so yeah.
It's cold at night.
There's a pig-headed dude as well.
There's
Big
Yeah.
dude.
one of those guys, from Mandalorian season 1, I think. Yeah,
I have spoken.
yeah.
Yeah. I was actually
And-
thinking one of the creatures from those Amnesiac games or Insomniac games, you know, those awful first person kind of walk around with no weapons games that were on the PS3.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those are bad.
But yeah, he's just like a pig fighter, but he's the only one of his species left, I'm going to assume.
At one point, he picks up the snout of a pig that's been served to him. and
I
just
thought he
goes,
was going to kiss
"Huh?"
it. I thought he was going to do
Alas,
this
I thought he was
Yorick.
eating it. Yeah, I
Oh,
thought he was
he
eating
does
it.
eat it.
Oh, he does
eat
eat
it.
He was going to do
He's
that,
like,
or he was going to do a
okay.
David Cameron. Yeah.
Is this the Bullingdon Club?
What, he's going to force us into a referendum that we're not that we're
Tum to
ill
tum tum
prepared to
tum.
do?
Yeah. But there's like
there's
two
a flame-
lasses.
It's a
you know,
flame-throwing old crone, yeah. I've
Two
forgotten
lasses
all
in like
about
a mud wrestling pit.
you know the most awkward thing about that?
Go on.
Sisters.
In real life.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Twins, Basil. Ugh.
Super awkward for them.
Oh,
Can we just
meh.
stop this scene? No.
Listen, do you want your rice ration or not?
Oh.
Oh, that makes it even worse,
It does, doesn't it?
James.
Do you want your meat cut off of a stick at the end of on a blade at the end of the night? That's Argentinian food, isn't it?
That's gauchos. Yeah, it's gaucho
Yeah.
food, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
But and then like there's a big greased up guy who just like goes ha 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 and gets in and just starts slapping him about in the mud. And I'm like, what is happening here? But the thing is, there may have been music in the background. I couldn't focus on that because all the way through it, there's just three men's voices going ha 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 ha. Like that time I went to Disney on Ice and it took Gaston ages to climb up the ladder and they had to keep looping the sound over and over and over again. It was like that. I can just get that reference.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was, and but there's all these women being chased around by these supposed heroes who are all just
Yeah.
deviants.
So they're all there as well, and they each get a woman. So Big Sal, he gets this fire casting woman. He's like trying to eat a bun as well.
He's just having his
He's there
tea.
just like, I just want this bun, and she's flame throwing. But Ogress is there. He's got a woman who he assaults, and then later has like some sort of Stockholm syndrome effect and just follows him everywhere.
Is that not the girl who was just taken and had her ass looked at by the guard?
Might be. Don't know. I mean, it yeah.
Again, it doesn't matter because
seems to come out of nowhere for me.
none of it matters because he basically sexually assaults her,
Yeah.
and then later on she's like, "I think he loved me," and I was like, "No, he didn't."
Kyra's there. She's changed into something. She's changed into a design made by a man.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
It's like it's
they
like
should
a
just call it like
bikini
the
with
Hall
ducks.
of Knockers, shouldn't they? Really?
Pretty much. She gets rid of somebody who was sat next to Mr. Deathstalker. She's claiming that man as her own. And he's like, yeah, sweet, whatever. Munkar comes in and introduces the games, and the prize is Princess Cadil, who's brought in a slightly see-through bride gown, I was going to say.
I was just going to say a sheet they've cut a hole in
That's what it was, yeah.
with a bright light behind it, so it's kind of translucent.
Yeah.
The thread count isn't high on the sheet.
No.
Oh,
Big
also,
dude
I
goes-
think they genuinely told her, struggle like your fucking life depends on it, because they cannot drag her in there. She's not
Yes.
having any of it.
That's the best acting in the whole film.
It takes
I
way
hope
too long
it's
for them to
acting.
drag her
I
in.
really hope it's acting.
Me too. Pig dude is like, right, let's get onto it then. Starts fighting the mud wrestling dude. It's all slimy. It's horrible.
He's
Ogress
proper
starts
greased
to
up.
fight. Yeah. Everybody just starts fighting. Everybody just goes nuts and starts hammering each other. There's a man very much like Kenneth Williams who gets punted up into the ceiling and gets stuck there. It's wild.
As he goes up.
It's just nuts. It's like everyone's on cat.
It is one of those weird things because I was like, you're supposed to be like partying before the night of the big
Yeah.
tournament, and now you're all having a fight. And at no point does anyone get pushed down a bar. We've yet to do a film where someone gets pushed down a bar.
that
sure
should
we
be
did
easy
that.
enough. We'll find one of those.
Ogress at one point is just swinging from a chandelier. As people just look at it. Pig Dude's beating a man to death with somebody's arm.
That bit made me chuckle.
I liked
because
that.
That's good.
He's
I
got
like
hold of the greasy dude, and a random man walks past. He just pulls his arm off and then starts hitting him with it. And I thought, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. That's about it.
Yeah, it ends somehow. There's like bodies strewn all over the floor. I think Deathstalker carries Codil away, doesn't he?
He
gets stopped by
basically
guards.
goes, "Ooh, I like her," and Munkar goes, "Then you shall have her after the festivities. I shall send her to your room." And Deathstalker goes, "Sweet, I'll go and wash it in the sink then." And then that's it. That's like it's.
I'm pretty sure you see her on the bed later on, and she's like, "Not again," sort of thing. It's just awful. Oh,
I think at this point
film.
his tattoo has moved on his head as well.
Yes,
Like,
it does.
It does wander around his head a bit. Like,
magic,
they couldn't
mate.
get a stencil that just like fitted over his ear. We'll just do it in the same place every time. Fuck it, just draw it by hand.
He goes to feed his creature a finger. This is the second viewing of the little thing.
Just before his lunch, so it's fine.
So he explains
treat.
to his assistant that the plan is for everyone in the tournament to get killed off. Bar
There
the
will be
winner,
no
obviously,
heroes left to oppose him.
said the Stranglers. And he'll just kill the winner after that.
Just kill them all.
Why not? It
would have been
just send him to
easier.
sheep like he did last time. Anyway, he then...
You know how
We don't see a
exhausted it is?
single sheep in this, by the way.
No.
There's not a single sheep in this film. If he can turn things into sheep, why doesn't he do it in this film?
Gaucho Union.
I wouldn't be in any union that had a woman like me in it. Oh no, hang on, that's the Groucho union.
That's the Gaucho.
Horse, yeah, silly me.
He then does something to his assistant. Anyone want to talk us through this?
Right. This bit is
Wow.
strange. So he goes, we're going to kill Deathstalker tonight because he's probably going to win the tournament otherwise because he's so good at stalking death. And his assistant goes, "Good idea, boss." And he goes, "How are we going to do it then?" And Munkar goes, "Crocodile's going to do it." And the guy goes, "No, what?" And then he goes, "No, we're going to turn you into her,
Yeah.
and then you're going to do it." And then we get this, but we don't see the transformation.
Really
But the
bad.
The first thing he does as the transformation starts, which is I think what any man would do, is grab his tit.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And then he grabs his dick.
yeah, and he goes, "It's gone!" Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then, like, she stood there.
Fake Cadil looks like he needs to spend some time alone as a woman first before he wants
I
to
was
start.
thinking that. You all would. Nothing would happen for a couple of
I'm
days.
not
would it?
judging.
No, but, you
I'd
know.
never leave the house.
Well, he's got a mission to do now. He's
Yeah,
like,
you must do it when his sword is not in his hand. Hey.
he means his cock. But
fake-
also, the assistant goes, "This hurts."
Oh yeah, he does a
Yeah.
little bit of like fake
Yeah.
walking on heel sort of thing, not getting used to it.
It's
It's a
weird.
bit of acting from her, I guess. Fake Cadil goes off to Deathstalker's chambers and he immediately gets made passionate love to as soon as she walks in. She tries to stab him, but at the wrong time. He's still got the sword in his hand for one thing.
Mhm.
And then there's a very difficult scene where he just presses her down on the bed.
Yeah, and like this is again another weird bit because like he's fumbling with his genitals and then he goes, "What are you?" So
Yeah.
is the transformation not complete? Does it only do boobies?
But no, it's gone. We know
I
that.
thought
It
the
could just be
witch's
smooth
voice-
like an action man.
I thought the witch's voice was over this, warning him, but I don't really know. how
Who
he finds
knows?
out.
I
Or
don't think it
cares.
matters. I don't think
Yeah.
it matters. Yeah.
Doesn't
And
matter.
so he just
I noticed-
fucking does him in.
When he turns back into a man, he's fully dressed in the hat and everything. Like surely, I don't know, surely he'd become naked or something. But maybe this actor had a non-naked clause in his contract.
The only person in it who does.
So he gets booted outside, still as fake Cadil, and Kyra is outside the chambers, and Boobily tries to rescue her because she's got a
Yeah.
cloak undone again. Can't do
She's
it up.
just
Don't
walking around the castle chestily.
That's it, exactly.
I've written here, but I don't know if this is where it is. I've written, "Be careful if you're hurt. It won't be as much fun later."
That's what he says to
What is
her.
that? Is that what he says?
Yeah, that's dialogue.
Jesus.
They have a duel and they each kill one another. It's Shakespearean, mate. This Deathstalker comes out as she dies. No. Yeah,
And he gives her a quick cheeky honk just for old time's sake.
probably does. Scene, and
Yeah.
we're down to the last 30 minutes. Of this
So,
film.
you know, Kara, that character we've just been introduced to, Didn't find anything about her backstory or anything. She's
No.
dead now, so it don't matter.
Yeah, none of it mattered. None of
Nope.
it mattered.
Dawn, the tournament begins. It's got everything. Dauntless fighters, some sort of priestess cast, crowds of cheering townsfolk, a man twizzling on a stick.
Yeah. I rewound that bit because I was like, good on him. He's found gainful employment with his one skill. Hi, yes, I'm Jeremy the Twizzler. Yes, if you need someone to twizzle about on a stick, here's my card. Ooh. As he's twizzling around. Okay, there you go. It's fucking hell. It's like Game of Thrones, but shitter. Yeah, the tournament begins, and we get various scenes of different fights happening. Geoff Capes has brought a big mallet with him.
Which he got from a test your strength game, I think.
It does look like a comedy Joker one.
I expect him to hit somebody with it. Goes,
squeaks when you bang it.
Ogress has got his new girlfriend, and he has a duel with someone in a gimp mask.
Yeah, and he's getting his arse handed to him, to be fair.
I've written here that this is why people say wrestling's fake. You know, people that watch this go, "Oh, I won't like wrestling. I didn't like Deathstalker. I won't like wrestling."
Well, if there's pyro in wrestling and a budget and
I
a
thought
plot.
it was fake, like boxing.
No, it's real, like water polo.
Incredibly dark scene follows, and I didn't really get this at all. But after this, so Ogress wins his duel, and then apparently, it's written somewhere, the night after the first day of the tournament, Ogress is taken by Munkar's men to a prison cell, while Salmarin is attacked by the prison guards and gets knocked down into a well that leads to the harem.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused throughout all of this.
Before that, we do get Geoff Capes bashing a dude's head in, like Midsummer.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, not just once. Like he keeps swinging, and then there's a little bit of mince beef on the hammer, and the crowd go mental for that. They're like, "Yes, burgers."
he on that fall into the harem. Like that fountain wasn't particularly deep in the last scene, and in this scene, he falls so far and then pops up out of it as if to say, "God, I was right in the center of the earth there."
It's the power of
surrounded
by horny Argentinian women.
That's all he's ever wanted.
That's what he says, isn't it?
That's something like that, yeah.
Or he probably just goes, or something like that.
There is a bit earlier on.
Robin Asquith runs in.
I didn't mention it, where he goes, when there's women about, and he does the face, It might have been that bit.
That's his trademark, I think.
That's the Augusto Loretta look he painted.
Oh, you looked up his name.
Beautiful.
I have to have the cast list on because I can't remember names for anyone in this.
Yeah, I know. Munkar is torturing Ogress, and he says, "I trust you are comfortable."
And he
Ogress
goes,
says,
"No, not really." Oh, I'm sorry. I'll loosen the straps then. Sorry.
And he does. And it turns out that Ogress's role was to bring Deathstalker to him by apparently mentioning that he was on his way to a tournament, which he was under no obligation to. Yeah.
Well,
so big reveal there. He offers to kill Deathstalker, and Munkar lets him go to do exactly that. He goes straight to Deathstalker and confesses everything. Don't know what his game plan is at all.
I think it's supposed to be, I've had a change of heart because
we've been through tough times together.
I've known you a day. We all watched you shag that last night. That's a bonding experience for any group of strange men in a forest, isn't it? She's dead now. I've got a lass. You can have her if you want. And she's probably like, yeah, I'm not bothered. I'm not even in this film.
Actually, she's right behind him at this point.
Yeah, she follows him around like a lost dog. It's horrific.
They brawl. Deathstalker doesn't take kindly to treachery of any sort. And Ogress's new missus just looks there as he gets pummeled to death and looks, if anything, just slightly disgusted. Like he's getting his head flushed down a toilet or something by a school bully.
I thought I was in there. I thought I was going to get a share of the tank top millions. Yeah.
Deathstalker then snaps his neck and says, "Goodbye, old friend. You knew him max 3 days."
Yeah.
Old friend. You've known Johnny Salmon longer.
Day 2 of the tournament, and I think the final day. We're very
2-day tournament. It's like cricket.
Munkar announces at the start of this that Deathstalker will face the greatest warrior ever known. I thought it was Pig Dude.
Yeah, it was Pig Man.
I didn't know if it was him or if it was just somebody in a very similar mask, to be honest.
I think Geoff Capes is Pig Man.
What?
Capes is Pigman.
Do you think that there was a bit where they lost the mask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they just went, we haven't got enough fighters. Take your mask off, Jeff. And he's like, oh man, I've got to advertise pot noodles tomorrow and carry all these bricks around end to end.
And fancy budgerigars.
Lift them big stones up for no reason.
And rip Yellow Pages in half.
Drag
Which
a
we
truck
could all
with
do
my
now.
teeth.
Oh, that hurts my teeth just thinking about it.
Yeah, so he fights Pigman.
Quickly disarms him actually with his special sword.
I
and
will
then
say
somehow-
the sword looks pretty good. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
fine.
nice looking sword compared to the sword and sorcery one that was 5 swords in one.
and it glows blue like there's orcs everywhere.
There is a bit where he just bonks him on the snout, and I just
Yeah.
thought, you bastard.
My eyes watering. I'm not crying. It's my eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, he somehow manages not to kill him after having disarmed him. He's the one with the sword now, and they just grapple around for a bit. Pig Dude eventually gets skewered, and the crowd goes fucking wild.
Yep.
Because
Because they know they're allowed to go home soon.
Because he's an abomination, of course. Yeah.
It's the last one of his race.
Yeah.
The Pygmalions.
It shouldn't make me laugh as much as it did. That night, Munkar orders his goons to go out, kill Deathstalker, and they immediately go to the harem and get sidetracked.
No, he says, search every inch of the castle. And the guards all go, we'll start in the room of tits then, lads. Eh? Yeah, I was about that. Salmaran's hiding behind a cushion at this point, pretending to be like Danny DeVito in It's Always Sunny when he's in the sofa.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yeah, he's performed a minor plot point by arming the women. So they've all got little stabby knives now. And they start stabbing, which is good. I like that. Yeah, it gives the power back to them a little bit.
Yeah, but Munkar's army as well are not very well trained because he's like, go and do my bidding. And they go, I choose to not follow those rules. So they deserve what they get for not obeying orders and being big rapists.
Deathstalker goes in search of the amulet, meanwhile, and the witch tells him to, minor role that she has. He finds it suspended from a cave ceiling, very tantalizingly. Weird place to keep it.
It's not a safe. I put it in a safe if it was me.
I thought it was going to be near that little thing. I thought this is going to be the moment where it shines. It's going to pop out,
Pops
bite him
it,
on the
and he
arse,
just pops it, Nope.
No, it's a man with a big chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he clearly bought that from the same place that man bought the hammer. Deathstalker now has the power of telekinesis.
Sword on a string, come to me. Yeah,
Derek's world of comedy weapons. If you want a sword that's unwieldy, come and see Derek. Yeah, I don't know whether it's supposed because like I'm trying to remember what the sword was the power of, and apparently it is just like fucking force powers. Yeah. I don't know. I can't
remember actually.
No, he just because he goes whoa, and the sword flies towards him. Who
Never
knows?
uses it again.
No.
The amulet gleams with the power of Mr. Film, and the goon just gets his head chopped off. It's that
Wax head. Yeah,
there it is.
We got any more wigs, guys? No, use the same money, and then fuck it, no one cares.
He goes to.
We used all the wigs on the witch's house.
Yeah, goes to find Munkar, who's in a sort of ruined arena sort of place.
This is he gets transported by Munkar to the set of the Bronx Warriors here.
Yeah. This is where there's multiple theremins. It was beautiful.
Speromania.
He strikes down. There's lots of visions of Munkar. He casts like multiple copies of himself.
Finally, some fucking magic in this film.
Yeah.
Like, finally, some fighting with magic.
Big D&D last boss energy.
Yeah.
Like, he's held onto all his spells all the way through this campaign, and now he's just going to burn through them all in this last fight. And he does. He casts multiple images of himself.
There's a lot of laughing, and for once, it's a decent laugh. Like the one thing I will say is this villain, Moncur, has got a cracking laugh.
He has summoned Codile as well, who also turns up, and he nearly like slices through her because he's too busy hacking away at these mirrors. But he doesn't. Munkar makes his big weapon gleam bright red.
This is all very.
And the witch turns up and goes, "Don't succumb to it. It's just an illusion. You're not on fire." There's fire everywhere.
And then Munkar goes, "He's not on fire, but you are, bitch." And she catches fire for no reason.
Yeah, R.I.P. non-union Carol Kane.
Yeah.
I was going to say she looks like Thingy from Young Frankenstein with the big eyes, just in a wig.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
She's actually pretty young. That person. I looked her up, and she's like a filmmaker now. I think this
All
was her
right.
first big break, so she actually did all right out of this. And I
She
think
got paid in
I think she's
wigs.
properly young in this.
She's the only woman that isn't sexually assorted in the whole film.
Yeah, she did well out of that as
But
well.
she does get set on fire. So it swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
Munkar has given himself hair. He's
Yeah, I thought
I
I'd missed
forgot
a
about
bit
that.
here because I was laughing after she got set on fire. And then he's like, is he trying to disguise himself as Pete Best out the Beatles? What's going on?
And Deathstalker just walks through the flames that he's put everywhere, says he doesn't want that power, and he just takes the chalice out of his hands and casts it aside.
Yeah,
The chalice glows like it's been in some sort of nuclear meltdown or something. Looks like it's from Chernobyl.
Mr. Film's got 3 colours.
Yeah.
He tosses Munkar into a baying crowd that's appeared all of a sudden.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
'Cause where did these people come from?
I don't know, but they are pissed.
Right, because he was like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to let these people who, I don't know, you've been mean to. I don't know.
Yeah.
He seemed like a fairly benevolent leader. No one was starving. Women got abducted left, right, and centre, but it's the price you pay, isn't it? I don't know.
They are livid because they tie him to some horses and slap the horses and they just rip him apart.
Yeah,
did
he
like
ends up like David in Shaun of the Dead, doesn't he? Like,
Yes.
absolutely ripped apart.
I did like when he threw him in and we got Munkar Cam. And it was
Yeah.
very the end days of Colonel Gaddafi. Yeah.
Yeah. What a reference, everyone.
Yes.
Layering
Yeah.
these dictator fucking references in tonight, aren't we?
Deathstalker then holds up all 3 objects and lightning somehow strikes them. And then he says, all the powers of creation and chaos, I destroy you. Deathstalker.
Deathstalker might return.
5 times.
Weird.
And
film.
that's the film, boys and girls. Like that is as sensible as it is. I think if I could sum it up, Deathstalker goes to a tournament, kills the bad guy, and then destroys the things he was sent to get.
What happens then after that? Nobody knows. It's
Yeah.
just
It's
the
an
same,
end credits
same
bit.
world, really, isn't it?
It's an end credits bit.
What was happening over the end credits? I missed that.
I missed
I
this.
couldn't turn this off quick enough.
Oh, there's outtakes.
For once, I didn't do it.
Oh,
There's
get
outtakes.
out.
Oh, God.
The fucking isn't. It was all filmed in one take. I told you.
The film includes the outtake.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's
No,
that's
Samuel
the film.
Jackson doesn't appear at the end and invite him to the Avengers.
Deathstalker. You could stop feeling up Black Widow. I'm sorry, I just can't. It's that's it. That there is no more. It is one of those films that I'm sure I must have watched that got this from like the video shop as a child because it's got dragons and swords and stuff on the front. And I think this is probably why I'm very confused sexually because there's a lot of sexy women in it and a lot of dudes with no tops on. Like it's a bewildering system.
Yeah, it's mad.
But it isn't right. I will say, as an adult now, it is in no way erotic.
No. It's quite
It's
the opposite.
horrible.
It's quite the opposite.
Yeah, it's feels very very exploitative.
Yes.
Which is not good. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else to say about this, or should we just go to scores?
Scores, please. So
Okay.
last time I gave the shark film, I gave that 3 bronze whatever's shark probably. I'm going to put this below that film. Remember that film? Do you remember how bad it was?
That was terrible.
Imagine 2 bronze harems, if you will.
Wow.
And that's only because Nightmare Circus was just slightly worse.
That is,
I don't think it was that bad when it comes to ratings. I'll have to give it 1 silver sword on a string.
That's high for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there was fun. I mean, it was incoherent from start to finish. But
See what they were trying to do, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming this was cashing in on like the Conan the Barbarian, Beastmaster,
Yes. Conan the Barbarian was the year before.
Krull sort of thing.
Yeah.
But with no plot or script or talent or anything, and they thought we'll just put wax heads being cut off and knockers. I'm gonna go with 4 brass bottoms.
They make the rocking world go round.
Yes, bronze bottoms. Sorry, yeah, we don't do brass, do we? Brasses. Yeah, that's literally it.
Well, that was Deathstalker, 1983. Same year as Endgame Bronx Lotta Finale. I bet the Italians would have done this better. It
Would
had
they
a
have done
budget.
it worse?
No. The budget was $457,000, and it made that back. Made that back in the first week that it was out at cinemas.
Was there nothing else out at the cinema that week? Was it like when I went and watched Balls of Fury?
Ooh, you went to see that at the cinema?
There was literally nothing else on. I had a season pass. I'm using it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
Yeah,
went to see a lot of
yeah.
shit with my season pass. Yeah.
It made $11.9 million on release.
Shut up!
Yeah.
Wow!
This
Wow.
shit sells. That's equivalent to 33.6 million a day. That's enough to buy 16 King Tutankhamun death masks, I've found out, which is just calculated. It's not for sale, everyone. It's just
How many did he
calculated by
have?
the amount of gold that's contained in the death mask, which is worth 2 million. It's worth as well 729 actual chalices. That's based on the most expensive chalice I could find on Google Shopping, which was 46k. And it's a sensational large silver chalice in the German Mannerist style, circa 1880, and at the end, used, and which I thought was really cool.
What else?
I want a used chalice. Also, the German Mannerist always say danke.
Was it John Chalice?
Ron silver.
Marlene?
First of a series of Argentinian films.
11.9 million.
Oh, it was still hung up on that.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it was.
Was this the film that Pee Wee Herman was caught wanking to? Like, what?
This was the first of a series of Argentinian films made by Roger Corman. He
Oh, of course it was.
Of course, it's Carmen, isn't it?
Argentina, by the way, named after the Silver River, the Argent River. There you go. So a little fact.
All right, 100 things we learned from film.
Right, there you go. It's
Synergy.
the first of a series of films throughout the 80s and slightly into the 90s that were shot in Argentina. This obviously sort of set that standard. They knew they could make the money out of this, so they went on to make Deathstalker 2, Deathstalker and the Warriors from Hell, Deathstalker 4, Match of Titans. And then Rich Hill stopped being. Actually, he didn't stop being an actor. What am I saying? He had some parts in Liar Liar 1997, Cheers, Magnum PI, and most importantly, Cyborg 2: Glass Shadow 1993, which is an Angelina Jolie film about a cyborg seductress.
What?
Does Glass cast a shadow? Glass is famously translucent. Also, Match of Titans. I'm hoping that's like an Escape to Victory style Deathstalker on one team playing football. Is that Escape to Victory with Pele in it?
I am 100% here for that crossover.
It was directed by two-time director James Spadalitali. I probably pronounced that wrong. Only got two director credits. Not much on him. I think he did a lot of. He was a lot of like first assistant, things like that. But it was written by Howard R. Cohen, who was a party joke editor apparently for Playboy magazine, which is probably how they ended up getting Barbie Benton. So Howard R. Cohen did Vampire Hookers 1978, Space Raiders 1983.
Crisps.
Yeah.
He invented these and then was like, Deathstalker. That's next.
I wouldn't want to eat those crisps.
No, you wouldn't. And a couple of years after this, Barbarian Queen.
Transformer snack of a movie.
Barbarian Queen. Is that
Yeah.
not a Billy Ocean song? Now we're
It is.
living the same dream.
It's a similar film series to Deathstalker, but featuring Kyra, Lana Clarkson. So it's sort of a similar sort of series. I think there were a couple of those. So yeah, Barbie Benton, girlfriend of Hugh Hefner and Playboy model. So presumably through Howard R. Cohen got to this point. She was a country singer in the 70s and 80s as well. I think she had a number 5 hit with something.
I am a stalking death.
I was listening to it earlier. It's very sort of like sub Dolly Parton style stuff. She gave up acting in the mid 80s. And so we'll move on to Ogress, Richard Brooker. British stuntman, not only a trapeze artist, but a horse trainer. And there were quite a few horses in this. So I reckon that was his talent that he was bringing to bear on that. Only 5 acting credits. Oh, sorry, go on.
No. I think you're probably going to say what I'm about to say. So
I think trapeze artist, was he Twizzy Man?
He might have been, yeah.
He might have been, yeah.
That's why he's swinging from the chandelier
Uncredited
as well.
Twizzy.
Multi-classing, you see.
Twizzler.
Yeah.
good at twizzling, horses.
Tank tops, got it all, mate.
I'm a man for all seasons.
Throw myself out the window. Okay.
But go on then. Yeah, Richard Brooker's most famous appearance. Go for it.
For me, he's got an episode of Hell's Kitchen dedicated, quote unquote, in his memory.
Yes. Yeah, he
Fucking
died
hell.
I mean,
2013, I think.
I can only assume that he ended up being a porter in one of the kitchens. Maybe? I don't know.
All right,
But
so-
why? How?
I thought you were going to say that his most famous acting credit was that he was Jason in Friday the 13th Part.
Oh, right.
Richard,
No,
this
I was sure it was
chicken's
interesting.
raw.
The year before, 1982. He was
What
the
are
first-
you? You're an ogress sandwich.
We've got stuck on this.
I'm just trying to see the correlation between the two, but yeah, whatever. Go on, he was in.
Friday the 13th. That's Jason.
Oh, he was Jason, yes.
Yeah, so he was probably at the peak of his sort of like fame-ish when he did this film. But he only did like 5 films total.
Hey, when they're all gold.
Yes. Anyway, moving on to finally Kyra, Lana Clarkson. In 2003, record producer Phil Spector shot and killed Clarkson inside his home and was charged with
Fuck
second-degree
off!
murder and convicted in 2009.
What a
Yeah,
shit.
mate. Yep, that was her.
Wow. That is. So, yeah, I was right. Can't
Did you
be
not
jokes
know that?
about
Because I was
No!
like, all the
No,
way through this, I was like, someone's going to mention it.
no,
was
I
her.
didn't realise that's who that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was. Wow. Fucking hell.
Just before we move on, without meaning to bring the mood up a little bit, I've just spotted that there's a Cyborg 3. Cyborg 3, The Recycler. This is a real film starring Zach Galligan and Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, jeez. I
Malcolm
hope it's
Mc-
Cyclops.
I was going to say
Malcolm-
Zach Braff for a moment.
Malcolm McDowell as Lord Talon, and then everybody else is called things like Recyborg, Jocko Cyborg, Donovan Cyborg, Decaf Cyborg.
Donovan Cyborg just sitting there going, yellow is the colour of life.
El Cid Cyborg.
Sunshine Cyborg. Yeah.
They feel very much like Futurama robots, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Hedonism bot.
You know.
So Lana Clarkson obviously went on to star in a lot of other sort of similar films. So Barbarian Queen, she was the sort of title character of Mrs. Barbarian Queen. So she did a few of those, and it sort of feels very much now that she just sort of veered into Phil Spector's life. It's not a happy story.
No.
Ended in 2003, but in the 1980s, she volunteered weekly at the AIDS charity project Angel Food, which delivers food for those in Los Angeles disabled by HIV or AIDS, at a time when that disease was greatly feared by the general public, and there was a massive scare campaign about that. So in happier times, we'll end on that she was in a David Carradine film, Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 2, 1989.
Wow.
But the thing is that I don't think we can do another film knowing what she went through in her life.
Yeah, it's a very glum ending to a fun section.
There's very little
Yeah.
little stopping us from doing Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 1, though.
I think
Well,
it's just called Wizards of
yeah.
the Lost Kingdom.
Yeah, I think so. The film is one of 10 that Roger Corman produced in Argentina during the 1980s, beginning with Deathstalker in 80.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be, that's the Magic Kingdom. I was just going to be a guy in a pointy hat getting lost in Disneyland.
No, it's part of a
On
whole
the ice.
oeuvre. The Argent. It's like his
Is it all the
Blue
same
period or
world? Is
something.
this like the first shared universe?
Yeah.
No.
Why not? Why not?
No, it's not.
And on that note, James Fact is banished forevermore.
So, the reviews for this are strange to say the least.
I bet.
There's a lot of people going, this is like the terrible exploitative film, but I've not gone with that. Fantastically bad. 10 out of 10 by Brick Nash 28. Firstly, let's not beat around the bush. This is a low budget, and I mean low budget fantasy film. Right now, if you accept that, this film is great fun, especially for a bunch of guys to watch with a few beers. The film makes no apologies. It's just gratuitous, with heads flying off all over the place, and barely a scene goes by without a good solid flash of naked females, free sex, mud wrestling, magic, swords, muscles, blood. It's all in there.
Weakness.
It maybe should make apologies, though.
It should make a lot of apologies. It should prostrate itself on the floor like a Japanese emperor. As a film, it's nowhere near the quality of Conan the Barbarian, but it's one of those films you don't watch expecting to be moved to tears. Did anyone cry in Conan? I kind of cried when that snake lady got thrown in the fire, but that's
the witch lady, because she
horrible
was
way to go.
hot. Yeah.
Overall,
Why is it with witches being put on fire in these films?
Only way to kill them, innit?
I guess so.
That's just witch facts. Overall, a fantastically bad fantasy epic that film snobs should avoid at all costs, but everyone else should give a bash on those Saturday nights with their mates. I don't know. I think if I was watching this with other people, it'd be weird. And then there's one guy that's like, buy a 6-pack, invite your mates round, especially if your girlfriend's just left you. And I'm like, okay, Caspian, you're going through something there. But
see your troubles.
The best of the sword and sorcery flicks. I only picked this one because it has stats.
All right.
Because he's clearly not his first time watching this because he's paused it. This movie is packed with everything you'd expect in a sword and sorcery film, except explicit sex, which he seems somehow annoyed at. Right, here we go. There are 25 breast shots, 27 butt shots, 6 sword fights, 15 impalings, 2 amputations, 1 arrow in the neck, 3 beheadings, we must have missed one somewhere, 1 horse dragging, 1 eye candy, don't know, 1 finger food, 1 mud wrestle, 1 pig face, 1 magical transsexual operation, 2 bitch slappings, 1 crotch stabbing, 1 head smashing, and 1 draw and quartering. It doesn't get much better than this.
Ooh.
Also, those were the original lyrics to We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel.
I mean, what are we counting as an impaling here?
I
be my next question.
Running someone through, I would assume. But again, RLCSL Joe 1 has clearly sat there with his clipboard doing bar things for each one. Bar gates, cow and gate, drinking cow and gate milk while watching this. Yeah, it seems to me that people like, it's a low budget film, that's fine. And then there seems to be horny perverts who are like, It's got boobs in it. And I'm like, I know back then you could only find pornography in Hedges or reading the Freeman's catalogue, but this is not it, people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was awful. But it was a film. I'm resting on that fact.
Had a loose story to it. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end, technically.
All this, we did Alone for Christmas and then Land Shark, which stretching the definition of a film.
Yeah, I know. But
I mean, I'm not saying it was a great film, but we've been through this together.
We've covered worse, yes. In conclusion, that was Deathstalker, 1983. Mark, do you want to fill us in on where you're up to in your walking for charity?
Yeah. I'm doing so regular listeners will know, both of you, that I'm doing I'm doing 1,000,000 steps in 3 months for charity, mate, for Diabetes UK. We are currently I'm currently how many weeks in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in, and I am on 500,000 steps, just over 500,000 steps.
I thought you were just going to rest on 500 steps.
500 steps, yeah. 500
just from here to the kettle.
508,472 steps.
He just rolls everywhere.
If you want to, if you've got a few shekels, please donate, because it's giving me blisters. I got blisters on my fingers, and that's really good.
The thing will be the link will be in the notes, as it always is.
Joe and James have done it already because they're fucking easily led.
Nah, it's a good thing for a good thing, man. Like, exercise is supposedly good for you. I don't agree with it. If it's so good, why did that jogging man die? Exactly.
Jogging man.
The guy that invented jogging. What's he called? Jimmy Jogging?
Jeff Jogs.
The fuck you on about?
Jiminy Joggerless. Was he not called Jim? Oh, I swear to God, right? Don't.
No, you're mixing him up with the bloke.
Was he not called Jim Fix, the guy who invented jogging?
Are you not mixing him up with the bloke that invented that little 2-wheel fucking bike?
Jimmy Segway.
He went off of it.
I'm sure the guy. I'm gonna fucking look. I'm sure the guy that invented it was called.
It's a Bill Hicks bit, isn't it?
Yeah, right foot, left foot. How are you going to write that down? Yeah, the complete book of running. He invented it when he wanted to walk twice as fast. Yeah. Anyway, how have we got to that? I don't know.
Doing that.
In conclusion, Deathstalker, 1983. Your favourite lines from the film?
You need a fool, no a hero. Ba, 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 ba.
You must do it when the sword is not in his hand.
Are you comfortable? No, I'm not.
Geoff Stalker, your thirst should only be for the first talisman.
Goodbye, old friends.
God. And on that, what a perfect way to end it. Say goodbye, boys and girls.
Bye.
Ta-ra. Maybe that's why the video shop shut down, Joe.